Hello, Diane here again. Last week I spoke to you about the problems that several people in the team were having with customers who were worried about the parabens in some of our products. And if you didn't hear that, you can see it in the files on our Sunrise team page. But something else has cropped up, which does from time to time. Somebody rang me a day or two ago and said that they'd had a potential client who was very concerned about the presence of sodium lauryl sulphate in some of our products, particularly things that have any kind of foaming nature, things like the soap and the tooth gel, for example. I think the tooth gel was the target in this particular lady's mind, and it's also in things like the shampoo and so on. Now there is, first of all, it has to be said that there is very, very little used in our products, but nevertheless the company is totally happy with the safety of that product. It's true at the same time that if you look online, you will find lots and lots of horror stories about sodium lauryl sulphate. And that was what had given rise to this particular lady's concern. Now, there's a big story behind this, and basically it concerns another MLM company whose name I know, and I can share with you if you want to know that and you ask me when we next meet. But they are a company who are dealing in some rather similar things to our own. And I'm sorry to say that it was they who put out the completely false notion that that sodium lauryl sulphate, which our products contain and theirs don't, they do claim to be to have all organic products, and I don't know too much about the validity of that or not, but they certainly don't use sodium lauryl sulphate. And anyway, what happened was that a certain Dr. Keith Green, an American, was doing some research on sodium lauryl sulphate, and somehow or other this organisation that I mentioned got hold of his research and completely misrepresented it, completely falsified it, gave out a lot of not just misinformation, which simply means information that's misleading, but actual disinformation, which means that it had no substance. And they put it out online that there were very, very noxious properties in sodium lauryl sulphate, and there was a huge outcry about it. In fact, Dr. Keith Green, when he became aware of what was being said about his research, wrote to this company and challenged them that they had completely falsified his evidence, that his research had not shown any of those findings whatsoever, and he demanded that they rescind their claims. Well, the battle went on for a long time, for several years, and in the end, the company concerned was obliged to write a letter of apology and completely rescind all the claims that they'd made. It must have cost them an awful lot of money. It certainly took many years. I think it was something like 10 years. Now, interestingly, again, if anybody wants a little bit more evidence of all of that, we do have copies of the letters that were exchanged between the company and the researchers. We have letters from Dr. Keith Green's legal team, who insisted that the company that falsified their information told the truth. And we also have the letter from the managing director of that MLM organisation, in which he clearly states that the evidence that they'd maintained was not in fact factual, and he apologised, and obviously that company was involved in a very, very expensive lawsuit. So I hope that helps. The problem is that although the whole matter was decided legally, the evidence that was totally erroneous is still out there on the web, because once it's been disseminated around like that, it isn't possible just to withdraw every single item. We can imagine that, can't we? It went like a drop into the ocean, and it's completely contaminated the ocean that we call the World Wide Web. And so you're not going to find very much that says what I've just been saying. If you were to search hard, you would be able to find the evidence that I've just given you, but I can give it to you and show you how to find it anyway. And the other thing is that when customers raise these problems, at the end of the day, they don't want to be proved wrong, even though at a lower level they might really want to feel comfortable about the safety of the product that they're going to buy. But much more important in their mind is their need to be right. And so it's not that I suggest you don't share this information with them, but I suggest that you share it in a very comfortable way that doesn't challenge them to change their mind. Because I think that if you do challenge them to change their mind, that's the very thing they won't do. But if you just share the information and leave it at that, and acknowledge that the world is a pretty difficult place to live in and to navigate your way around, take that sort of line that's comfortable and that gets them on your side in a sense, if you see what I mean. And then they're much more likely to buy the product anyway. So I hope that helps. Bye for now.